Hello, hello. We are reading Fossils, Chapter 1. So remember, when we open our book Fossils, we come first to the table of contents. And we're looking for Chapter 1. So remember, these numbers show us what chapter it is. Here is number 1. The title of Chapter 1 is called Clues from the Past. And if you look over here, it is on page 7. Go there. All right. Clues from the past. Did you ever wonder how scientists have learned so much about Earth's history? How do we know what the dinosaurs looked like, what they ate, or where they lived? How do we know that fish existed before mammals? How have we learned about our human ancestors? The answer to these questions is through the study of fossils. Fossils are the remains or traces of animals and plants that have been preserved in Earth's rocky crust. The caption to this picture says, Archaeopteryx is considered the earliest bird. Let's move me over here. This is the heading, Digging Up Fossils. Most fossils are buried beneath the earth. Paleontologists excavate or dig and remove them from the surrounding rock. Fossils are delicate, so scientists must work carefully. Excavators may mist water on the rock to soften it. Then they use tools such as dental picks to chip the rock away. Large bones are usually encased in plaster of Paris to protect them for transport. They are shipped to laboratories for further study. Looking at this picture down here, the caption says, Paleontologists carefully excavate a 10-million-year-old rhinoceros. The Hadrosaurus lived in what is now New Jersey. Sorry, that's the caption for this picture. It says, this fossil shows the scaly skin of a Hadrosaurus. The heading, Bones and More. When you think of a fossil, you probably picture a dinosaur bone or even a complete skeleton. But fossils can be more than bones. Teeth, shells, and other hard parts of plants and animals can also become fossils. Sometimes an animal leaves behind traces such as footprints, tooth marks, or even impressions of its skin. Clear fossil impression of dinosaur skin gives us a good idea of what these ancient animals looked like. Another thing that animals leave behind is their droppings. Fossilized droppings are called coprolites. They can tell us a lot about an animal's size and what the animal ate. Worms and other soft animals cannot become fossils, but the burrows they dig can become fossilized. By looking at the space in which an animal lived, we can learn a lot about its shape and size. The caption for this picture says, Ancient worms created these tracks in the earth, which later fossilized. The next heading, Fossils Young and Old. Life has existed on Earth for billions of years, so a 10,000-year-old fossil is actually really young. Animals preserved during Earth's last ice age are among the youngest fossils ever found. Scientists in Australia recently discovered fossils that may be the world's oldest. These fossilized single-cell organisms are 3.4 billion years old. Special lighting and powerful microscopes help paleontologists look at fossilized single-cell organisms, such as algae shown here. That's the caption of our picture. Earth was formed 4.6 billion years ago. At first, conditions were harsh and very hot. The air had no oxygen. Around 540 million years ago, animals that we might recognize began to develop. This was the beginning of the Paleozoic era. Sponges, worms, and snails were among the first animals. Fish developed around 400 million years ago, followed by insects and amphibians. In the middle of the Paleozoic era, 310 million years ago, reptiles developed. This is the caption. It says, the first tribulites lived on Earth about 542 million years ago. That is a long time, and that is a funny looking creature. The next heading says ruling reptiles. Oops. The Mesozoic era came next, lasting from 250 million to 65 million years ago. Reptiles dominated the land, overshadowing all other animals. In fact, this era is often called the Age of Reptiles. Dinosaurs such as Tyrannosaurus rex, Stegosaurus, and Triceratops roamed the earth at various times during this time period. Yet the Age of Reptiles did not last forever. By the end of the Mesozoic era, all the dinosaurs had become extinct. And as we've talked about, extinct means gone from the earth. They have all died. The caption for this picture says, scientists argue that Brachiosaurus lived in groups. The age of mammals. After the dinosaurs became extinct, mammals developed rapidly, replacing the ruling reptiles on land. This age of mammals, from 65 million years ago until the present, is known as the Cenozoic era. Giant mastodons, saber-toothed cats were some of the animals that lived during this time. The first modern humans developed very recently, only about 200,000 years ago. Let's read the caption for this photo. It says, giant mammoths and dire wolves lived about 150,000 years. What are fossil fuels? Fossils provide much of the energy we use today. Coal, oil, and natural gas are called fossil fuels. Hundreds of millions of years ago, wet tropical areas filled with plants and animals covered much of the earth. When organisms died, they sank to the bottom of swamps, oceans, and bogs. They were buried under layers of sand and clay. Over millions of years, heat and pressure in the Earth's crust transformed the matter into coal, oil, and natural gas. And then the caption here says, huge drilling rigs pump oil from deep within the earth. All right, that was chapter 1. Thank you for listening with me today.